basically there are two types of downriggers. You can have a manual downrigger where you can crank it up by hand, or there's electric downriggers, and there's many brands and models out there. And basically a downrigger allows you to precisely set the depth at which your lure is going to be in the water column. And how that's achieved is at the end of your downrigger cable, there's a terminator clip, and we then attach your downrigger trolling weight. Now, trolling weights have come a long ways over the years. They used to be, standard round cannonball style, but we've discovered over the years that the more slimmer and aerodynamic, low profile design will track through the water a lot better. This is a POW Titan style trolling weight, and these travel great through the water. They track nicely, there's very little blowback, and they're pretty easy to handle. So you attach your downrigger weight to the end of your downrigger cable, and then your line connects to a downrigger release. Now this is a Scotty downrigger clip, probably the most common one that's out there. And all you do is you slip your line inside the clip, and then when a fish comes on, the fish will pop off, and then you proceed to fight the fish on your rod and reel, and then after you retrieve your weight back to the surface so you can reset. Now, one thing that we've also learned over the years, for many years we thought that the best way, or the only way to attach your downrigger clip was to click it on the back of your weight, regardless of what style you use. We've discovered that that's not the better way to go, because especially if you're using like a flasher behind your downrigger and then you clip it to here, there's going to be a lot of rotation and movement from your flasher, and it's going to cause your downrigger weight to wander a little bit. So the better way to do it is above your where your terminator clip is, right about here, you want to attach your clip. And that way it's just coming directly off the downrigger cable. It's not going to interfere with the tracking of your downrigger weight. And it's also easier for you to reach when you retrieve your weight to the surface and you're leaning over the gunnel of the boat to reset things. It's safer and just a little more convenient to use. Another good idea too that we've learned over the years is to use a snubber above your to attach to your cannonball or your trolling weight. What that does is it absorbs the impact of the weight. That can be 10 to 15 pounds swaying off the back of your boat, and that weight has to be impacted somewhere. So the snubber helps cushion it, and especially when you retrieve your weight to the surface and maybe your boat is rolling around in a chop, it just impacts that. It takes the strain off the mounting off your gunnels and everything else.
When you're fishing your downriggers, you got to remember, the deeper down you go, the more line you have in the water and the more resistance and more drag there is on this line. So I don't like to go down more than I usually 100 feet, maybe 120 feet before I start noticing there's a lot of blowback. So you're not only getting drag from your downrigger wire, you're getting drag from your fishing line, which is going to cause what they call blowback, which means you got your rigger here and your line going down to your ball. Well, all that line in the water column creates drag and friction through the water. So that bow is going to go all the way like this. So you're going to get blowback, which is going to affect how deep your line actually is. So the deeper you go, the more blowback you're going to get. The thicker your line is, the more blowback you're going to get. Some people say, well, how come you don't just use 40-pound test? That way you're not in any worry of snapping off. Well, it comes with its downfalls, because you got stronger line, except it's thicker and it creates more drag in the water. And you can't get as much on your spool. So if you get a big fish, you want to make sure you have enough line, because sometimes those fish will take out 400 feet of line on you. So you got to make sure you have enough line on your spool and create the least amount of drag through the water as possible. That's the way I do it. Some guys will if they're going to be fishing really deep, set their clip on their downrigger ball to the hard setting and use something like braided line, because braided line cuts through the water a lot better. Usually 30-pound braid is going to be half the size of what 40-pound mono, so it's going to definitely cut through the water. The only problem with it is using braid on your riggers is that the braid tends to slip out of the clip easily, and it also, using the clip on the braid, the clip will actually compromise your braid. So food for thought, you know, you can use braid on your downriggers. Most people don't. Just for those reasons, mono is good.